I'm Raf.
And I'm Raf. We're Raf.
Raf Farispo of the Far From Vesuvius podcast. That's Ralph Pizarro of Calcio Napoli Club. Just rant about Napoli.
Let's go for it.
We're going to rant. We're going to match report. We're going to talk about the games. We're going to talk about topics. You leave comments, so we'll read your comments out. Question.
All right. Quick stats.
Yes. Throw the stats up there. On to a nice little segment that we're going to call the Beast of the Match.
Who's beasting it for the Napoli team? Let's see.
Follow us on Facebook. Rafael Rispo, Ralph Pizarro, Twitter at RafaNapoli83. That's me.
I'm CNC USA 26.
I want some feedback to the show. What do you guys want to see? What do you want to see more and less of? This is going to be a show for you guys too. I want a lot of comments.
We want to rant about something. Let us know if you want us to rant about something.
I promise you, we're not going to agree on everything all the time.
We won't.
We're going to yell at each other every now and then.
Come and rant. This is what it's for. We want to give you a space to let loose so you can do it here.
Well, that's going to do it, Ralph. Were we boring enough for you?
I don't know. I think we were great.
Let's get to it.
Madonna do Carmen, aiutici tu.
And benvenuti, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to the Raf and Raf Rant. Now, before I go any further, guys, I know what everybody's thinking. Rafa, what happened? You left. You left us. You left like a poor little stray dog on the side of the highway, guys. I'm so sorry. And I know this is like a random. I'm jumping back in. Rafa Rispo proposed the episode to me tonight about a few different topics. I was like, let's do it. He got caught up on some last minute family stuff. Couldn't make it, but I was so excited about it that I was like, I got to come back in. So I came back on the Raf and Raf Rampage. I sent out the Napoli bat signal, and I got these lovely gentlemen in here today. All right, let's say hello to Vincenzo Bertilli. We got Partino Page, Francesco, and my man down low, Soto Montese, as some of you know him, Mike Michele Scotta di Luzzo. Welcome, guys. How we doing tonight, man?
Good. How you doing?
Well, how are you?
Good, man. Good. Good to be back. Let's close those. Good to be back. I wanted to come on tonight. Again, I know people are like, Rafa, please don't do this to me again. Don't play with my emotions. But we're not completely out the game yet here on the Rafa and Rafa Rant. Now, there's a lot of things going on, right, boys? So I'm dubbing tonight's the emergency episode because I was like, I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep right tonight. By the way, I took one of those rapid tests. I think I was positive, by the way. So, I know, like everybody in the world has the COVID cold this month. And here I am live, so however that makes you feel, I'm here.
We're going to have to take you out of the lineup.
Yeah. I was going to come on like this, but I didn't want to be. I don't want to be pushing it a little bit, but shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you, guys. We got Martella in here, Late Night Squad, Daniel D. Twitter is a war zone. We need back ASAP. Welcome back, Ralph. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Scoundrel Pill, always in line, bro. Hello. Zeno, good to see you again, buddy. Hey, yo, Napoli back is right. So, guys, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here, right? But I'm gonna start with you because you're from Toronto, and then I'm gonna kick it to Rafa. First of all, do you think this happens? Do you think Lorenzo Insigne becomes a Canadian?
Oh, he'll become an honorary Canadian.
An honorary Canadian, but you know what I mean. Like, does he?
At this point in time, I'm inclined to say yes. If you would have asked me any other time earlier in the season or last year, I would have adamantly disagreed. And I thought this was a negotiation tactic between two parties, De Laurentiis and Insigne's people. But at this point, given some inside info and then on top of that, all the pretty legitimate reports that are out there.
Okay.
If he was offered that number, which it seems he was for sure, he's taking it and he's coming here.
Right.
As beyond that, we can talk about what it all means and the repercussions. But
no, that was approximately $12 million net plus approximately $4.5 million net or in bonuses, right? Which brings the sum almost to $17 million net. That's a good chunk of change for a 30-year-old who
31 by the end of the season.
31 by the end of the I mean, on the wrong side of 30, that's a good chunk of change. That will put him, what was it, the reports? Top 10 all-time paid? At least, in the top 10 somewhere,
Be the highest paid Italian in the world.
Highest paid Italian in the world. Now, that's something you don't hear every day, right? Like,
Now,
I read say that again, Francesco. I'm sorry.
He would pass Verratti if he went to Toronto, I believe.
Yeah,
because Verratti is currently the highest paid from PSG.
From PSG, all right, yeah, but that PSG, that's a cheat code when it comes down to salary, right? Because they just pay everybody the most. I get it. What up, Tony? Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much. But I have read a recent report today, guys. Anybody want to chime in on this? That possibly that number was not right. That would be between like the tax system in Canada. That $12 million figure is more like $5.7 million. That was the latest one I read.
But then there's a $4.5 million bonus. How easy is that to activate? Maybe that makes up for it. So bottom line is he's going to get a bag if he comes here. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, who own the TFC and the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're rich. They know that this would be an instant. I mean, I already bought season's tickets in anticipation of this. Right. And I can tell you that they were already almost gone, and they're probably all gone now. And I guarantee you, like, he's getting a bag.
He's getting a bag.
Here.
Not only that,
want to break it down.
Didn't they even like forewarn you guys that the price may increase on the season tickets? So like get in now at this price before it goes up. I mean, do they know something we don't know? I don't know.
Could this be a market ploy to sell season tickets before a deal's done?
It's possible. It's totally possible. Anything's possible. But I'm just saying, like, at this point, I'd be more surprised if Insigne were to stay with Napoli than if you were to come to Toronto.
Yeah, I agree.
Francesco, does he leave in January or does he leave in June?
No way he leaves.
Or does he leave at all? Does he leave at all? Well, what's your opinion?
So when I saw this come out, at first I thought it was definitely just a strategy to get ADL to wake up and shell out some more money. Because let's be honest, sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. Let's be honest, this is a pay cut that ADL has offered him, right? It's a little bit of a pay cut from what he's currently making.
Right.
And to me, it's a little bit of a slap in the face. I don't think he should be making like a ton more than what he's making, but I think the raise that he asked for based on recent success with Italy at the Euro and last season with Napoli going into his last contract isn't like too greedy in my opinion based on the numbers that I saw he was asking for.
Okay.
So, yeah, in my opinion, if he's thinking about going elsewhere, I don't blame him. But would he ever do it in January? No. And I guess my individual bias leads me to believe that he's not going to go anywhere. But that's just me being biased and hopeful. I hope he doesn't, but we'll see. Okay.
Fair enough. Miguel, now I'm going to segue to you because I kind of know how you're going to respond to this. Is it a slap in the face? Is it a strategy? How do you feel about the offer that was presented by De Laurentiis to Insigne? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's warranted? Considering basically respond to Francesco, considering Insigne's performance. And again, I kind of know what you're going to say, but I need everybody to hear this because it's going to be slightly different than how other people feel. So please elaborate your feelings.
So I thought this was always going to pan out to Insigne wanted to raise. ADL was going to offer him less. And it would end up extending at what he's at now. Because if you just look at right now, he deserves to be. He doesn't deserve a pay cut, not at all.
Sure,
not at all. However, ADL is not afraid to take the bank out when needed. The problem is we're going on 3 years with no champions. Okay, so you have to take that into account because when we were rolling in the champions money, we were doing record signing. Have those signings panned out? No. Manolas, bust. Lozano, very controversial.
Okay.
2 out of 3.
Oh God.
Lozano's been
Controversial is an understatement with what's going on with Lozano right now, I feel like, but go on.
But going, I don't want to go off from Insigne, but
No.
Insigne, I think he deserves to stay where he's at. A pay raise right now with Napoli in the situation that they're in, 2 years of no champions, it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. And when you step back and you look at it, it's nothing personal. It's just business. It just from that, it doesn't make sense, the pay raise. I know everyone says, oh, it's only 1.5 million. You're going to let him walk for 1.5 million. But it's not just 1.5 million. Look, I mean, we've got all this money to recoup, and we're, hopefully we're on the right track to get back into champions. But as of right now, we already know ADL is not going to fork out money. He's not going to go in debt like that. And even though it's not a whole lot, I don't think a raise is ever going to happen.
Okay. But you would at least say break even, right? Or not, rather stay the same, but no pay cut, but no raise. So you're kind of like in the middle of it. I thought this was just a ploy on both ends. I want a pay raise. They offered him less. Let's come to the middle. Keep it where it's at, and everyone's happy. But you can't blame the guy. If the Toronto offer is legit at the original number, he might be the dumbest person to not take it. I agree.
Like, I'm sorry. I love Insigne. I want to see him finish his career in Naples. But that kind of money, especially Italy hasn't qualified for the World Cup yet. So that's not even – everyone's talking about he's not going to get called up for the World Cup. He's ruining his entire career. That's not even a for sure thing.
Right. I think a lot of us jumped the gun, right? I think once again, emotions get the best of us Napolitani, right? Because that's our biggest weakness. Let's keep it real. It's our emotional response to things. And, the minute Toronto and the money and the this and the that came out, it was like, he's not going to the World Cup. Let's let Italy get to the World Cup before we start talking about Insigne. Maybe that was a little bit of a low blow. I'm throwing a little shade to the squad, but let's keep it real. Euro 2021 champs, or 2020/21 champs, we should have qualified, no problem. We didn't do that. So before we get on Insigne's case about blowing his chances, let's wait to see if the Italian national team is going to blow their chance. Now, Vin, I'm lost for words because in one way I want to see. I kind of want to see Insigne here because I get to see him, but another way.
I'll tell you the way I'm looking at it. I think Mike made a good point. I was originally thinking that as well, as far as the negotiations, where it's like, okay, Insigne saying 6, ADL saying 3.5, and they're going to meet in the middle at the old price. That's what I thought.
Okay.
But I also think it goes beyond even money at this point between Insigne and Napoli. I think there's a slight rift between him and ADL from a personality standpoint, and there's a bit of an my ego against your ego going off. And I don't think either are like the villain or the hero necessarily. I think the reality is in life, there's gray area, and both of them might be correct from their own personal point of view. Okay. But since the, the mutiny and then not making Champions League for 2 years in a row, and with getting rid of Gattuso, who we all know Insigne loved, and quite frankly, Insigne last season was the best left winger in Europe, in my opinion. He had, I think, 19 goals, 11 assists, or was it 21 goals, 11, something like that. He had He had over 20 goals and over double figures in assists. So unbelievable performance. But he won the Euro, and now his contract is almost up. And I think he's pretty much guaranteed that starting spot at the World Cup regardless, because 3 years in MLS is not 3 months rather in MLS. Into the new season, it's not enough for Mancini to say, "Oh, you're in a weaker league," because it's such a short period of time. It's in less than a year is the World Cup, and he's still playing for Napoli. And like Francesco said, there's no way he's going to leave in January. So we're talking about him leaving in June, and then in December is the World Cup, I believe. And there's not like some budding, incredible left winger that Italy is producing that's like really, right behind Insigne, and like, as soon as Insigne drops a little bit, like it's over. So
that's it, right?
I think he sees it in his mind as that was his last international tournament to at least be a starter and a protagonist anyway, because 2 years later, he'll be 33 at the Euro, which he's already won. After that, he'll be 34, 35 at the next World Cup. So it's like, this is his swan song for his Italy career anyway. Then he can come to Toronto, make a huge bag, generational wealth, and really no one in Napoli can hate on him because he hasn't gone to a rival. No one can blame anybody for taking that money. Like Mike said, you'd have to be stupid not to take it at this point, if that's true. So it's like the narrative that I'm thinking of right now, as much as it will hurt me to not see Insigne with Napoli, I think maybe I'm biased because I am going to see him every week here, but I think this is the best way it could happen if he was going to leave. Any other way of him leaving, it would have been much more of a sour taste in my mouth than this scenario.
I'm with you there. You certainly don't want to see him go to like a team to like Inter or Juve, or I didn't even want to see him go to England, to be quite honest. I was happy if Insigne were to leave Napoli and Serie A, that it would be like somewhere in Spain on the beach where his like natural, kind of like habitat is. Because let's face it, we Southerners, we love the ocean. We want to be near it. No way do we want some gray ass England. Again, no disrespect to the our English viewers, but let's keep it real. I want the beach. So does a Napolitani. Fran, I want to ask you, just like I would like for you to kind of respond to Miguel's thing, where it's like, do you think it was warranted that he get this raise? Do you feel like, how do you feel about Michael's comments about, maybe considering the lack of Champions League qualification over the past 2 seasons and considering, maybe even COVID and all the other things, maybe Insigne didn't deserve to raise. Maybe, this was the best that ADL have to offer. Do you feel that way? Do you feel that, like, man, this guy's getting the short end of the stick, or ADL is just like, yeah, I don't need you, go ahead if you want to go?
I mean, I totally see where he's coming from with what he was saying, the COVID thing, and also the fact that we didn't have Champions League revenue for a couple of years, for sure. I mean, again, my viewpoint is pretty biased because I just like love Insigne so much.
Right.
He's from the city. He's one of the faces of the club. And also with Mertens's recent extension, I kind of feel that, he's getting paid a good chunk of change in what he wanted.
Okay.
And he's a few years older, and he doesn't have any prime years left in him, while Insigne might still have 2, maybe 3 at the tail end. And then his prime will be like fully done, maybe 2 or 3 more years. Mertens is still putting up good numbers, even though he's not in his prime. But at the end of the day, he got the extension and he got the money he wanted. We just got Gulam. Well, we're about to get Gulam off the pay raise. The wage
payroll,
bill.
the payroll, right?
Yeah, the payroll. We're about to get
Manolas, right? Who was also one of the highest paid.
Right. And Manolas was just off it as well, and he was getting paid, I think, $3 to $4 million a year too. So, with all that being said, I don't know. It would just be really sad to see Insigne leave without winning something big with Napoli, I would say. The move in general would just be really bittersweet because it's bitter because he leaves Napoli and he leaves our main club. And without winning something huge that we all would have wanted him to see, the city would have remembered forever. But it's sweet because, we have the opportunity here in the States to go watch him at Yankee Stadium or Red Bull Arena. We can get up close and see him right in front of us. But it's still sad, So
definitely. I want to read out. I got a little surprise, but I wanted to read out a couple comments before I bring out my surprise. Joe DeAnge, who is my co-president for CNC, I'm a co-founder of CNC. There was a moment, or at least an article reporting that Insigne did ask ADL, like, hey, I'll take maybe a little bit less, but you need to reinforce the squad. Again, I don't know how true that is. I'm very skeptical when it comes down to modern day journalism. It did happen. I wanted to, at the very least, highlight it, because that would be obviously a very admirable thing for our captain to do. Say, okay, I'll take a little bit less, but you got to make sure you reinforce us in the back end. Joe DeAnge, by the way, big Insigne fan, big Italian national team fan. He loves it all. So he feels like that. Sereno, you all know from Napoli Club Toronto, also another fellow Toronto. How would you say, Vin? Torontonian or Torontonian? Okay. This is like some Twilight Zone shit. I feel like I accidentally manifested Insigne in Toronto. So this is kind of an inside joke from the Renaissance chat, boys and girls. But yeah, I think you did, Sereno. There was another one here. Daniel D says it's going to be harder to find a replacement for Insigne than to re-sign him. Maybe not on this one, Danny boy. Like I feel like left wings. That's one of the. I mean, we had too many left wings on our team at one point. Even Matteo Bonetti said it. So, can we replace him? I'll tell you what we can't replace. We can't replace. It's going to be hard to replace him. Who the man is? Insigne, the Sconizzo, who came up through the ranks, played the team, became a captain. That's going to be really hard to replace. To replace the left wing position, I don't know. I think we'll be okay. We already have a few people on this squad already that can probably do the thing. Johnny Iucci, because this is very, very. Oh, and I have a cool picture I got to share with you guys. This isn't a new thing between him and ADL. He fired Mino Raiola 2.5 years ago so he could resign. He deserves the raise. Do you feel like? I feel like some of these guys now, they're starting to smarten up these players by not resigning, waiting till their last year as leverage, because right, it really feels as if like, hey, either you give me the money, or guess what, I'm gonna go to this team, and guess what, they're gonna pay me more, because now they don't gotta pay $20 million or what have you in some kind of huge transfer fee, and that can be allocated to their wages. So the league did it. I don't want to say Insigne's doing it. I'm not gonna accuse him, but Matteo had responded with Elmas. This is just a biased thing that I'm going to put. Elmas can grow into that role. He's 21 with tremendous potential to become an elite player. I agree.
My biggest fear with Elmas was if Insigne stayed, he wasn't going to re-sign, and we were going to lose Elmas, because I think he's going to really turn out to be something special.
Elmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to remember that this kid, I said it before, he's such a utility player for Napoli. Name me one other player on this team that plays all the positions that he plays.
Mertens.
Name me one. But Mertens does what though? Either he's the false nine, or he's the number 10.
Like in Mertens' career, like he's the one that's done that. He's moved.
Okay, fine. He would be the closest. Yeah. I'll grant you that.
I'd say Zielinski too has been pretty versatile.
But from what? The number 10 to the CDM?
I think Elmas
he's played off to the left too before, like in the 4-4-2 with Angelotti. Sometimes he play on the left.
I always thought Elmas has, I've seen him play number 10, the left wing, CDM, right wing not long ago when Rui got that red card, right, with Spartan Moscow. I believe Elmas covered that until we took out Insigne. But
Raf, you really think that he's the long-term answer on the left wing to replace Insigne? I love Elmas, but I don't think that's his real position, even though he can play there. He doesn't bring the creativity. He's never going to get double figures in goals and assists like Insigne. I highly doubt it. At least not from the left wing. Maybe if he ends up transitioning as a trequartista full-time or whatever, that's fine. He's a great player. I love Elmas. I think he has a huge future with the club. Yeah. But to say he's the Insigne replacement on the left wing, that I don't really buy that.
I'll hold on. I'll say this much, Vin, to respond to that. It's hard to say that he'll be the replacement today. You know what I mean? It's tough to really gauge that. You know what I mean? Like how did Insigne at that age didn't?
But I'm saying it's not his natural characteristics. Insigne at that age, he wasn't getting 20 goals, 10 assists, but you knew he was a left winger. He played that way in Serie B. He played that way when he came. He's always been the same position. So with Elmas, he's great as a role player right now. He's a utility player. Right. He can fill in on the left wing. He can fill in at trequartista. He can fill in the line. But over time, and I believe he does have a future at the club. I'm just saying, I don't think that he's going to make the left wing his real position personally. That's
fair enough.
I don't think he's a real winger, even though he can play there. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm always biased on that because every time I've watched him play the left wing is when he would score a goal, he would contribute a little bit more. So I kind of base my opinion on what I've seen him do. But I'm not going to say, not today, that Elmas is the replacement for Insigne. I think that's not fair to Insigne, and I don't even think that's fair to Elmas, putting that kind of pressure on the kid, But I think at the very least, he's a good, talented young man, and we'll see what he does.
Hey, Raf.
Yes, talk to me.
So while we're on the topic of wingers, is it just me or our wingers, not just Insigne, all of our wingers are underperforming this year.
Okay.
You look at last year, we had like 40, 50 goals from the wings, from left and right combined. We had 20 assists. Like on the right side, whether it was Lozano or Politano, it didn't matter who was in. It was dynamite. When it was Politano, you had the chemistry with him and Di Lorenzo, the overlapping runs. They were so deadly. When it was Lozano, it was using his pace, drawing the fouls. This year, is it just me, or is that's got to be on the coach, right? That's got to be on Spalletti. It's got to be a tactics thing. How does both sides? Because Insigne, he's not having as good of a year this year as he did last year. I mean, if we're being honest.
Do you mean by goals scored or just in general? Because
in the attack, he's tracking back. He's playing defense he's doing a lot more on that end. He's very important on that. But it's just it seems like everyone wants to, whether it's hating on Lozano or whether it's people hating on Insigne, it's the whole. It's not any player. It's the whole group, the whole team. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like when I watch our team, when we had Osimhen, everything was clicking because Spalletti was feeding. It was all about Osimhen. Osimhen goes down. I'm sorry, Petagna is Petagna, but it's like we just got lost in the sauce here. What? And listen, this isn't a bash on Spalletti per se, but coaches bring certain things, and I feel like Gattuso always got the bad end of the stick. No one gave Gattuso the credit. Ancelotti had Lozano playing like shit.
Right.
Gattuso comes in, boom. It's almost immediately he turns into
right. Just
remember, last year,
it was a 180.
Season, Lozano was the beast of the team.
Right.
Lozano is what carried us through the first half of the season. Insigne was having
he certainly stepped up.
Subpar performances for his standard.
Right.
And then Lozano freaking pulls his hamstring against Juve, didn't have a sub, and still sacrifices his body to ensure to clear that ball on that last attack at the end of the game. You know what I mean? You can't tell me that man doesn't care, because most people would be just sitting on the sideline. You're playing 10 men. He was hobbling back, you know what I mean? And he cleared that. He stopped that attack.
Right.
Did he further injure his hamstring? We don't know. That you never know.
True.
But now, and then Gattuso leaves, and it's that aspect of this team, we kept all of our wingers. That was what we were supposed to be. Just throwing in a healthy Osimhen with them.
Right.
And I don't know. I think it's more. I don't think it's any specific player. Everyone can hate on Lozano. People can hate on Insigne, but I don't think it's players. I don't know. When it comes to that, there's too many people underperforming at positions where they were very good last year.
Well, guys, I got a small surprise. He made it. Considering you spoke about Gattuso, there's no other better man to really introduce right now than the man. You all know him. You all love him. Rafa Rispo. He sandwiched right in between us, guys. I love it.
Look at that.
Welcome, Rafa. I'm glad you made it, sir. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. Hey, I'd love to see all your faces right now. This is great.
Oh man,
awesome.
Awesome. Rafa, I sent out the back signal, and these fine gentlemen here responded immediately, and the chat is bumping. Thank you. Shout out to the chat. Yes, I cannot keep up. I was like, so much stimulation. So we even got Daniel Bone in the house in Italy right now. So we got dude 6 hours ahead. So we got Daniel, from Toronto, Sereno, Tony, Sessa, Zeno, the whole crew. Giuseppe
Guys,
is in here.
This is great.
This is
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And
welcome back, Ralph. Welcome back, Ralph.
Thank you,
Ralph
sir.
Rant.
Thank you.
I mean,
like,
listen.
It's kind of a soft re-entry.
Soft return. Yeah, listen.
Soft re-entry.
Hey, re-entry nonetheless.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, listen.
Listen,
let's take things slow. Let's take things slow.
Listen,
all right.
We needed a sabbatical between the two of us. I needed for sure a sabbatical from running far from Vesuvius. Bowen. What? Oh, Cali.
In Cali. All right. West Coast.
Hey, listen, it's even earlier. So I mean,
okay.
36. Yeah.
All right. Well, we still appreciate it, certainly.
Yes, absolutely. I was gonna comment on the dedication of him being in Italy, but
I thought maybe
but he's here.
Drank some late espresso, couldn't sleep well, but he's here.
Speaking of, I just got an espresso for Christmas, and it's the best thing I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Which one?
Oh my, a machine. I've never had an espresso machine before.
Oh,
so
is
it
the pods? The
pods. Nespresso. The
That's
Nespresso
great.
pods. Yeah.
Is it the Creativa? What is it? The Creatista? Who cares?
I'm gonna get back to you on that.
Okay,
you touch the thing and it comes up, and you put the pod in, and you touch it, it comes down.
Fair enough, and it's nice,
it's
creamy espresso.
I'm still even on the whatchamacallit, the
sample
the trial pack, the sample pods. Yeah. I'm trying to find out which one's my favorite.
Ooh.
I had a tiramisu hot chocolate bomb that I put one on earlier today. Freaking great. Love it. I'm drinking 2 espressos a day, so this is wonderful.
You got to get some of the Bourbon Blue.
The Bourbon
okay.
Blue.
I will take. Trust me. I will take your guys' recommendations, and I will run with it. I promise you, because I'm trying to find the best ones going. But anyway,
Napoli coffee talk. You know what
Napoli
happens?
coffee. Listen,
we go off
when
the
I
rails.
get in, it's all
party. So Rafa, let's kind of like let's push up the speed here now. Michael, I mentioned something about obviously that the big topic, Insigne, the money, the Toronto, is he leave, the loyalty, the Scudetto, the World Cup, the basic conversation that's going on out there right now. But Mike had just, I want to bring it up to kind of everybody in the panel and as well as everybody in the chat about Insigne, about our wingers and the current performance of our wingers.
Okay.
And did Gattuso make is Gattuso kind of one of the difference makers between the performance that we saw from our wingers? Is Spalletti, is his tactics maybe more to play to Osimhen, and that's why our wingers have been struggling a little bit? What say you? I know you're super pro Gattuso. I mean, it's no secret on the show. What's the differences that you see, and what do you think is the main catalyst, or who is responsible for the performance that are being dished out right now, or the lack of performance that we see?
Well, there's no question in my mind that the wing play has been a little bit, subpar, especially considering last season. I mean, we've gone over the figures, Ralph, how many times Politano and Lozano combined for more goals and assists than Callejon's last 2 seasons combined. And in all competitions, and that was tremendous last season from them. At the same time, Insigne had the best season of his entire career, and that being on the heels of him winning the Euro with Italy, being a protagonist at that. Spalletti does tend to favor his strikers a lot. So whether the ball is coming from the midfield, the number 10, the supporting midfielders, or the wings, that's why you're going to see Osimhen score a ton of goals, as he had before his injury. But I think there's just a lot to be said about the players that are playing on the pitch rather than Spalletti. Gattuso, yes, got the best out of Lozano after, I was listening to a little bit of what Michele was saying while I was back in hanging in the studio in the what would we call it, the green room, I guess,
Green
right?
room, backstage, right? It's called backstage.
And
The light
he
blue
has,
room.
yeah. I feel like he makes a good point when it comes to Gattuso getting the best out of most of his players. Lozano, I mean, he went from telling Lozano, yo, speak Italian, learn Italian, or get the hell out of my club. Which, I mean, I don't know how to feel about that necessarily, but communication, I'm sure it's
Okay, right. It's communication.
to having him playing out of his mind. And, Insigne has come out and said that Gattuso was a big inspiration for him and had him playing to the best of his ability. Spalletti's a new manager. He's in, and from all accounts, I feel everybody loves him. I think they do really like him a lot for the club. I think I've been proven wrong. I think Spalletti has been doing a pretty good job, give or take a match or two. Things can go wrong. It happens,
Right.
But I'm gonna go ahead and throw it into a different perspective. And as far as Lozano's play goes, in my opinion, I'm gonna really emphasize the head injuries that he's had. The head injury with Mexico at the Copa d'Oro, the Gold Cup Copa d'Oro, and then the other one that he had, that he only sat out. He didn't sit out. He started the next game, and I feel like it's I think there's something deeper there. I do. I think there's something a little bit deeper there when it comes to his head injuries. Yeah. And now he's got COVID. And that's totally, that's totally.
Yeah, but everybody got COVID this week.
Sure.
Like
no. I'm just what I'm saying
he
is
did
that,
travel to Mexico, so
right. What I'm saying is that the injuries, I think, really did hinder him a bit coming back. You go through an injury like you did 12 minutes into the Gold Cup. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And you're going to come back a little bit more reserved, I feel. It's not to say that he's not playing as hard as he can, but at the same time, I feel like it could have, hurt his play. Politano, he's also not performing as good as I thought he did. A lot of that could be due to him coming back from COVID too. I do really believe that players coming back from COVID take a little bit longer to get used to playing at, just because you test negative doesn't mean you're not still feeling effects of COVID, and I can say that about that. Insigne, for me, it's the contract is on his mind, and that's 100%. I'm, and Dan knows because he and I have been getting into friendly debates for sure, but 110%, it's the contract on his brain, and I am not convinced that it's anything else. I don't think it's anything else but the contract that's racking his brain. His situation with Napoli is coming to an end. He's got his agents in his ears. He's got Toronto coming after him. He's got ADL saying, "Oh, you're going to play for this much less and for this long." Whatever the case may be, you can't tell me that it's not bothering him, because you don't go from having your best season of your career to winning the Euro to coming out and. And I won't even say he's playing bad. I don't think he's playing that bad. I think he's got a lot of influence on what happens in our attack on that pitch, and the numbers won't show that. 4 goals in the league, 5 maybe, 1 from open play. Most of them from penalties, the missed penalties in the beginning of the season. Okay, fine. But a lot of the attack runs through him. And without our best players, it's really impossible to effectively execute your attack. And that could be down to, that could what am I trying to say? I don't think Insigne is at fault completely for our lack of offense lately either. We don't have Osimhen. We don't have Fabian. We don't have
Insigne. I mean,
Zielinski was in or out. Insigne, yes,
He's out.
You know,
Like, you can't
and
blame
it's just-
Insigne for not scoring right now. He's injured.
well,
Like,
right now,
it's
yes,
not his
but
fault.
right now, yes, but when he was
Right
on
now.
the pitch, I mean, granted,
We were
there a
winning.
few times
We were
we
winning,
were winning.
Rafa.
We were winning. Sure, for sure.
And a lot of
So,
that started at the man on the left wing. That's what
Sure.
I'm trying to get at. Like,
So I can't. I mean, I don't think it has much to do with Spalletti. I think it just has a lot to do with, dude. Napoli just can't stay healthy for the life of them. It happened last
especially
year,
in the
too.
winter.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter.
Come December, everybody's screwed. Now you could. I'm sorry. You really quick. You could also
Yeah.
argue. You could also argue that everybody's been playing so many games, because of COVID, whatever. I personally feel that we're back to a normal schedule. You know what I mean? These players play these games. This is how they, except for maybe the international games, they probably threw one more in because I don't know, UEFA with the internationals want to be greedy or whatever. But a lot of it was making up time for being off from COVID too. But now I feel like we're playing a normal schedule. The UEFA competitions went off at the time they were supposed to. The season started at the time it was supposed to. Everybody got as much of rest as they could in the summer, except for those who played in the international tournaments, which, hey, players play international tournaments. It's just what they do. And I mean, I think things are getting back to normal when it comes to scheduling. Now we'll see what this run of COVID does, but
Okay.
I don't think that that's much of an excuse, but you also have to, plus we have 5 subs, bigger squads. I don't like to use that as an excuse. These guys are professional footballers.
Right.
They're not machines. They're humans.
So
But they
Rafa,
should be used to this.
I want to kick it to Fran and Vin a little bit. I want them to chime in a little bit, if you guys want to. If you want to move on, we could. But I would like to get your opinions about, as far as the performance of these wingers, even if it's just quick or you want to elaborate on something. I don't want to get into the Lozano-Politano debate. I definitely don't want to do that. I would like your assessment of all the wingers right now and their effectiveness. And do you see a difference between their performance now under Spalletti this season and maybe what we saw last season under Gattuso? And which do you like more? Fran, maybe I'll start with you because you haven't spoke for a little while. And then Vin, I'm going to kick it up to you. And then I promise some more controversy from Miguela. So we'll do that right after Vinny. And then, we'll go back around the table. So Fran, do you see the difference in these wingers? Do you see the difference in the tactics position? Maybe not quite tactics, but as far as performance that we are receiving from our wingers, including Insigne, Politano, Lozano, if you want to throw in Elmas, whatever, but between Gattuso and Spalletti.
So, yes, absolutely. There's a difference in performances for sure. The wingers were way more involved under Gattuso. They were putting up better numbers. And Lozano and Politano this season are still trying to play the same way that they were last year with Gattuso. Like we see Politano cut into his left a lot and take a couple touches, sometimes to the center of the 18, or sometimes he curls it from like a lesser angle. But they're doing it less efficiently this season for sure.
Okay.
Whether they're just like a little slower, more predictable. Lozano's a little sloppy with his touch still. And I would say that's down to what Miguel said, the fact that Spalletti likes to play through a striker a lot and make them the focal point of the attack.
Sure.
He loves to focus on the striker, and that's why his past teams have found success through their number 9 the most.
Right. Okay. Inter with Cardi and all that, right? And I'm sure,
right.
All the balls went to him, right?
But at the same time, while Politano and Lozano have dropped off, I don't want to go off on like too much of a tangent here. Yeah. But Spalletti has improved other players that struggled under Gattuso, in my opinion, at least, such as Lobotka.
Lobotka, number 1, right?
Right. I would say Fabian's game has gone to the next level, which we've seen flashes of in the past, but have we seen it as consistently as this? And also, was he as impactful in the past as so far this season? You can argue a couple guys in the top 3 this season so far. Fabian and Anguissa could both be in your top 3, arguably, for impact this season, right? So I would say we have to say Lobotka and Fabian have been massively improved under Spalletti. Fair. And I'd say the entire defense has been improved. I mean, we have I think we still have the best defense in the league statistically, We've given up one less goal than Inter, who have the second best defense, and they haven't given up a goal in 7 matches straight, which is pretty nuts that we're still holding the record for that up to this point, best defense. So yes, while I will say there's an obvious drop off in terms of impact the wingers are having and efficiency and attacking threat between Gattuso and Spalletti, there's been improvement in other players. So it's hard for me to.
It kind of like offsets it, right?
It kind of all equals out. I'd say even Elmas too has improved under Spalletti. Elmas has improved as well. So and Zielinski kind of looks like he's picking up right where he left off with Gattuso.
Thank God, we needed that.
Which we definitely need. But
Peter Scala, I won't forget. I'm going to give him his props. When we did the first panel on the rant, when we did La Familia episode, the very first one, Peter Scala said it himself that the key player that we're going to need was Zielinski. He called it, and I mean, I guess all the players are, but when he was struggling, Napoli was struggling a little bit, and as soon as he picked up, maybe it was at the right time, we started seeing a lot more creativity in the midfield. But Vincenzo, same kind of question to you. As far as what you see coming out the wings.
I have thoughts.
Give me your thoughts.
Okay, first of all, I'll touch on Insigne separately, but overall, yes, all of our wingers are underperforming this year. Now, there are various different reasons, such as Rafa said about Lozano with his injury, Insigne with the contract, etc. But I think separately from that, you have to give the coach some blame and say that it's just as there are some players who are doing better this season than last year, such as Elmas and Lobotka and Rachmani in particular. Okay, the wingers are not doing as good this season, and I think it's fair to say that because last year Lozano was the best version of Lozano we've seen. Politano was the best version of Politano we've seen, and Insigne was the best version of Insigne we've seen. Now this season, all three of them arguably are the worst version we've seen at least in a while. And that's not to say they're even bad. Like Insigne at his worst this year is still a pretty good player, but it's not the same Insigne from last year. And I think that although I'm happy that Spalletti is our coach, I'm not saying he shouldn't be the coach. I think it's fair. You have to compare them, now with a bigger sample size. Now that we've been through some injury crisis like we were last year, now you can kind of start to compare them. It's not fair to compare Spalletti in the first game of the season when he has everybody right? And compare just that 10 perfect games we had to all of Gattuso, which is what everyone was doing, right? Now we're able to see, like, if it was Gattuso who lost at home to Empoli and Spezia in a short period of time, then people would be after his throat. So you have to be fair, and I think that the wingers are underperforming this year. I think that Rafa is right. I do think that Insigne is an emotional player more so than most, and this will go to Dan Bowen's point about he was saying other players have had contract talks before and such, but other players have not been Insigne, a Napolitan, a captain of Napoli, who have been through what he's been through, and on top of that, he's an emotional player. So it's not really a fair comparison, I don't think. Insigne is such a unique character, and that's not to say he's always innocent and perfect either. But I'm just saying I don't think it's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges. To compare him to another player. And lastly, I just want to say that Rafa made a good point. The injury crisis. I mean, that killed us last season, and it's killing us this season. If it wasn't for our incredible amount of injuries all at the same time, I truly believe that last year we finished second, and this year we might be favorites for the Scudetto. And we have to get to the bottom of that, because I don't care if you have Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp and Spalletti and Conte all coaching at the same time for our team. If all of our best players are gone and the spine of our team is gone for such a huge chunk of the season, then I'm sorry, no one's a miracle worker.
That to me is down to the staff medico. I mean, someone said it. If this was like an American team's medical staff, that team would be canned. I was actually a client of mine in the chair. I was explaining to him the type of injuries, and they said, well, if this was an NFL medical staff, that guy would be out the door like that. You know what I mean? So something's up in the medical staff for me. Like, even though it might have changed since Sadi days or the Gattuso days, something is up. Something's up. So the way they're training, I don't know, something is wrong. But
we need to hire Inter's medical staff. I feel
honestly,
they wouldn't even have
to
a
me.
seat on the plane home.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
Anguissa bicep curls.
Yeah. I have to agree and piggyback to what Vin said. I wanted to bring it up because I did see Dan's comment, and it basically
you want to bring up the comment, Ralph? Do you want to touch on it?
Sure, we'll bring it up again. I brought
all
up
right, and then we're going to go to Mike for some controversy.
Yes,
I promised everybody controversy. So
the contract shouldn't be that much of a problem, though. Just my opinion. This is Dan Bowen. Other players have had contract negotiations going on in the past that didn't affect their performance like this. This is the most different situation that you could ever have with anybody. Like this
regarding
is
Insigne's contract, right?
Yes, this is a bandiera. This is a guy from Napoli, Skunitz, a Napolitan who grew up with this team, watching this team. I don't care what his family cheered for. He has Maradona tattooed on his leg. He's got more tattoos representing Napoli, like Kubani said on Far From Vesuvius this morning. This guy bleeds and breathes Napoli, and he's the captain, the Neapolitan captain of Napoli, who's trying to win a Scudetto and can't get past the Coppa Italia, even a European trophy. I'm sorry, for me, his mind is totally on this contract. And where he's going to be next season, where his kids are going to go to school, where his wife is going to, how they got to learn English, how they got to this, how they got to adjust to, moving to Toronto or wherever he goes. And this, I'm sure we'll talk about this later. If this happens, this hasn't even been confirmed yet, everybody. So let's hold our horses. But when your owner, and this is the first time in a long time I'm going to get on ADL too, even though it's not 100% his fault, when your owner is lowballing you and all you want is a couple of extra bucks just to stay, that's got to affect you. It's got to. I understand you're talented and you're on the pitch, but you don't go like a lot of people are writing Insigne off already, like, oh, he's past his prime. He just won the European Cup a couple of months ago. He just came off the best season of his career. Koulibaly did the same thing where he came back from AFCON, went to the final of AFCON, came back and plummeted a little bit, and now he's back to normal. It's going to happen to pro athletes. This is the way it is. It happens. I can't subscribe to the fact that people are saying maybe he's lost a step for now, but that doesn't mean he's past his prime. And I get he's a little over 30 and he's a winger. Fine. But Mertens is 34 and he's scoring goals left and right still when he gets a chance to play.
Can I just interject? Vin, maybe you want to jump in?
Go ahead.
So, real quick, I just want to mention that when Mario, starting from the Spartak game, when Mario Rui got that red card, right? And Insigne was taken off at the 41st minute. We end up tanking that game.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Sassuolo was when I believe Insigne caught the injury. We end up giving up the lead. Mm-hmm. We lost the next game. We were 3-1-2.
Yeah. These are good points. Yeah.
From when Insigne left, you could see and we had mentioned Rafa once. I remember talking about is the team Ozil dependent, and we said no. We said no because there was so many other people that can come in and score, and I think that was happening because the guy on the left, Lorenzo Insigne, our Capitano, was the guy for. Did Rafa just criticize ADL? Yes, he did. That's funny. Don't forget, I was more of the pro ADL guy, but either way, I mean, the whole show was pro ADL, but either way, the minute Insigne is not in the picture, the team starts struggling offensively.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the defense. It wasn't that we were giving up. All right, Juan Jesus had that little like oopsie against who was it? Spezia. Spezia, where and you're right, Dan. There was no excuse to lose to Empoli and Spezia because this bench should have done it. Okay, we were praising Spalletti in the beginning of the season, not just for his plan A, but for his plan B. His plan B was what made us more happy because that was the thing that we were lacking a little bit with Gattuso. Was like, all right, when the plan A ain't working, how do you change things up? And we were missing that with Gattuso a little bit. I'm not going to give Gattuso a hard time, but with Spalletti, we saw what would happen. Game 1, Venezia, we catch a red card, our striker out 2 games. What did we do? We kept our heads in the game. We won. We were grinding out wins. All of a sudden, he's out the picture. We can't put a freaking shot on target, or we can, but it's a shit one, you know.
But hold on. So let's try to figure out which. Actually, I interrupted you. Let's find out what games were the ones that Insigne missed. So he missed what?
It was after Sassuolo down.
He missed Atalanta. He missed Spezia, Empoli.
Sassuolo down, I believe, and he was. Oh no, Spartak was.
No, was he injured for Sassuolo? Was he taken out against Sassuolo? Yes,
I think Sassuolo is when he got hurt. I believe. I think he started that game and then he got hurt.
The only problem is we got all these injuries at the same time, so we did look at that. But then it's like the Sassuolo game. We didn't have,
the Sassuolo game was Insigne, Koulibaly, and Fabian out. Boom, and I believe Anguissa was Inter. I believe
he was.
Anguissa played the whole game, but then
he played the whole game and then he got hurt.
Okay, so we were out because Inter was before Sassuolo, so Anguissa was out for all that, right? Insigne out against Sassuolo, comes out. We drop the lead. We tie. We lose to Atalanta, but we could very well have tied that match, right? We could have walked out of there with a point.
We beat Leicester.
We beat Leicester City. We grinded out the Leicester City win, right?
We lose against Empoli.
Empoli, we lost to on a fluke goal. Yes, we didn't score, but we could have had a tie there too, right? Fluke goal, fluke. Nothing you can do about it. Plus, people are under now. Okay, fine, no excuses. We should have beat Empoli, but Empoli is not a bad team. Beat Juventus, have a lot of tough wins that they've grinded out too. Yes, they just got beat by Milan big time, also. But at the same time, Empoli is no slouch. Still a team from Serie B. Should have beat him. Yes, on a fluke goal, we would have had a 0-0. Okay, then what? Then Milan we beat. Okay, we beat Milan, and then we lose to Spezia, and that's the only one out of all these matches where I saw like a Gattuso not show up match. Because in my opinion, this Napoli team has a way better mentality than they did last season. Even in the drop points, we were never really out of it, or there were valid excuses for dropping the points. You know what I'm saying? Against Inter, we could have come away with a tie. Against Atalanta, we could have come away with a tie. And against Empoli, shit happens. You know what I mean?
I want to respond to Matteo. We didn't give draw because he came out the half. We fell apart once Fabian K2. Yes, obviously losing the best center back and one of your more offensive midfielders. But I think what finally Insigne provided, and maybe he learned this the second half of last season, right? Because, Rafa, you remember episode 1, like in January, when we were just like, Insigne needs to step up as the leader. He started doing that the second half of the season. And these are the things, this is why we made the beast of the match. This is why we're trying to give credit to the little things you don't see. Does Insigne kind of keep it together for the rest of the team? Does the team unravel? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but if anybody want to answer it, you can. Anybody in the chat. But does Insigne keep the team together when things get hard? Does he, or did he learn how to absorb that pressure for Napoli so they can do their thing? Now, I promise, Miguel, I know you were itching to say something.
No. This was a question on yours. Last season, what was the match that Insigne, we ended up drawing? It was a Spezia, and Insigne on the way out kicked the trash can.
No, Sassuolo.
Yeah, that was the first time last year you really seen Insigne where you're like, that's what you want to see out of your captain at the end, like the passion.
The
Before-
accountability.
I saw some of it. I saw some of it before that match, but yes, you're right. That was the frustration coming out. I saw him like rally behind his players and get in other teams' faces and really, really like step up as a captain before that match last year. But that was the game where you were like, "Oh wow, this guy."
And if I recall, I believe we started to turn it around right after that.
Well, I mean, we were in the middle of a what? We ended the season, I think, like 14 or 15 unbeaten.
Yeah.
Even the Verona tie where people say we lost, we still didn't lose. We hadn't lost since,
and we had the most 4-0 wins in all of Europe.
It's right.
If Spalletti was doing that, he'd be praised as a genius.
Listen to me. There's a lot to we can dissect. The fact of the matter is what Vincenzo said, and I'll say it again. We are too injured simultaneously, either COVID or injuries. Yes. We have too many people unavailable at the same time. People could say, "Oh, all teams go through it, whatever," and then shit on. People also can shit on our depth, which is awful take. We have such great depth, but depth is depth. It's not. You can't rely on your depth, your bench, to play every game. Juan Jesus playing every game is not going to get us these wins. Come on, we were first 12 matches, we were 11-1, 11 wins, 1 draw. Then we started dropping like flies, and people wonder why we're so bad. That's why, because when you lose your literal best players at every position, Insigne, Koulibaly, Fabian, Anguissa, Osimhen,
right?
Come on, man. Come on. I'd love to see Inter lose 5 of their. Okay, let's see. Inter lose Lautaro, Zeko, Barella, De Vrij, and I don't know, pick another one.
Who's the guy in the back, right? Yeah.
Let's just say they lose all 5 of those guys at the same time. You really think Inter is 7 points ahead in the Scudetto right now? Give me a break.
Chance.
No way.
No chance.
No way. No way. And
even Milan was going through something similar, and you saw that game. You saw that game. But nothing. That was a coin toss win, Milan versus Napoli. And I'll be honest, we got a little bit lucky.
Every team goes through it. Yeah, you're right. Every team goes through it. Yes, but when you're that taken apart, you don't go from being regarded as one of the best teams in Italy to, being barely fighting for the Champions League on accident, just if this happened and we had all our players on the pitch still, then something's wrong, man. We lost that. We took our heads out of the game.
Yeah. I'm going to read Christopher Estrada's comment here. I don't like how it's, because this is what really, really frustrated me. I don't like how we're saying this is mainly Insigne's fault when this is a collective problem.
But I don't think it's anyone's fault. I don't think it's anyone's fault except for, bad luck or the or medical staff.
Father injury, right?
Yeah.
Ross, the thing though is when there's 2 positions on a team, when a team goes through turmoil, there's 2 positions on a team that's going to be put at blame. Your coach and your captain.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
That's why those positions are not just anyone should be the captain. You know what I mean? Sure. Insigne, you're held at a higher standard. And that, I mean, I'm not going to segue into it yet. I'll wait. But
now think about Insigne, and we really should get to Michele's controversial point that he wants to bring up.
Yeah,
all right. Love to know what it's about, because maybe this would segue into it. But when De Laurentiis offers you $1 million less than what you're making already, instead of what you want, which is $1 million more to stay, right? And you're the captain and you're supposed to rally these troops. Tell me that doesn't mess with your mind. And that brings me back to the Daniel Bowen point. He doesn't want to hear excuses with about contract talks or whatever. But at the same time, well, hold on a minute. I'm the fucking captain of Napoli, and you want to pay me less, and you just got rid of Manolas, and you're paying this guy more and that guy more. Okay, yeah, I'm 31, so let's negotiate a number.
Right.
But that's the thing. I don't think there's any negotiation on either side.
At the same time, whatever De Laurentiis has presented to him, he has reportedly turned down. And I don't know if maybe he offered him the same money or maybe just under what he wanted. And now that he's pissed off about it, he wants to like lowball him because he's fed up and makes it look like it's Insigne. I don't know.
This is fun. Now I'm concerned. Rafa's criticized ADL twice now. Hey,
Listen, I'm
man.
going to call a spade. You know, I'm also not going to fault him because it's a very touchy situation. You got a guy who's only getting older in age, plays on the wing. I know Mertens got his contract when he did, but and it's a little bit older than Insigne, but this guy is the captain of the squad. You know, treat me with a little more respect. You know what I mean?
So now, guys, we're reaching the hour mark, and it's getting late. People are sleeping in the house, so we're gonna have to cut out kind of soon. But I really want to get Miguel. I know you wanted to add something. Do you still have that in you? And then
I mean,
maybe we'll have Fran respond first. You know, Fran's.
So I mean, this is a question to all four people.
Okay.
So at the end of last season, right?
Okay.
The last match day of the season, it essentially came down to a trophy, a championship weekend. You know what I mean?
All right.
You were in a playoff. At that point, it wasn't a pointless game. Everyone minus Inter was playing for something. Second place to fifth place.
Right.
We drew to Verona, right? Who was the worst player on the pitch that day?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is where it comes in. I love Insigne. And like I said before we went live, my son, I named him Enzo, short for Lorenzo. Okay. I have the most respect for Insigne, and he's the greatest.
Not for Vincenzo? Sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right.
It's his middle name.
Whatever makes anyone happy. But like my thing is historically with Insigne, those are the times. His only fault is in the times when, you really need the captain to step up, to take charge. Those are the times when he vanishes. And it's so infuriating, like it's so frustrating sometimes. But let me ask you this. If we beat Verona, we make champions, is his contract, are we even having this discussion? I think he gets extended in the offseason. He gets what he wants. And this isn't even a discussion. So not only do we not make champions in a playoff scenario where one game, we all watched the match. It was horrible. I mean, it was, and this will be my personal biggest gripe with Insigne is in times like that, he seems to vanish more than step up. Now, when the team's fully healthy and all the pressure of the world is not on him, he's the best player in all of Italy. However, in the times when we're down 3 or 4 men, we need our cap. Okay, we need a goal. We need someone to make a play. Those, I just feel like, and this is just, like I said, my personal opinion on it from watching him. That's when I'm like, okay, Insigne is going to do something great. And after every time, I'm like, you walk away kind of disappointed.
So let's have Fran. I'm going to start with you again. You've been patiently waiting. And listen, we'll make this the last question. We'll kick it up counterclockwise, guys, if that's all right. Quick answers if possible, because I got to cut out soon. I'll give you like a couple of minutes, guys, each. So Fran, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that Insigne maybe disappeared during those hard times, that when the pressure was on, maybe he didn't quite perform the same? As the banner said, did Verona, that last game last season, all right, we spoke a lot about it on the first panel that we did Verona mess up Insigne's contract renewal? Or did it mess up the chances?
Absolutely. Think about the Supercoppa game. I mean, that's the easiest way to think about it. A big game for me, right? When we really need Insigne to step up and kind of just chokes. I mean, he actually played pretty decent that game, as the whole team did all right in the Supercoppa final against Juve. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he choked the pen. So that happened. That's a fact. But and he was pretty messed up after that penalty too, and really didn't recover until he scored against Juve in the league on a penalty, and then he started playing well after that. So he even went through that bit. So that proved, yet again, that maybe his mental strength isn't all there. He could be a little bit weak mentally at times, and we've seen it throughout his career in spells each season. No, Michele is right. I mean, I love Insigne too. He's my favorite player that I've watched in Calcio up to this point in my life. Not only like on Napoli, but just ever. And again, he's from Naples, so I'm extremely biased. But the fact that he's, stayed with the club through his prime years, never went to Europe, now is being linked to, a move overseas and abroad. It still shows that, yeah, maybe he's going for that money. But like Miguel has said, and like a lot of us agree with, he'd be stupid to not go for that money. So I think his loyalty still lies with him, and it's a characteristic of him and him as a man, which is definitely an admirable thing, and a reason why I like him for sure. But no, Miguel is right. He did go missing in that Verona game. It's not the first time that he's gone missing in the big game for sure. And it could definitely have had an effect on the contract. Maybe we make champions and we're not having this conversation like Miguel has said. Probably not.
Probably would have resigned in the summer, right? In the beginning of the
right. But at the same time, this is my point with why I would love Insigne to stay. So obviously I'm biased in that, he's from the city. I really want to just see him win something big, whether it's a Scudetto or a European trophy. But at the same time, in this last, hypothetically, his last run of the contract, we have Osimhen, right? We add Anguissa. We have a Fabian who's clicking with a clicking Zielinski. Like, we have a window here to win in the next couple of years.
Right.
So if he leaves, obviously I'm still, the year after he leaves, we could win the Scudetto, whatever. I'm happy as hell. But, like, it would suck to see him miss it, especially if it happens in the next couple of years after he goes, which it very well could, because I believe, like, we have a window to win here, a couple of years of a window. And I think the attack does go through him. Maybe he's not having the best season numbers-wise this year, but as far as influence goes, he still definitely influences the attack. His presence definitely influences where guys go and the movement of the attack. And, also, the defense is always on their toes and guessing because he could do so much with the ball at his feet. So for those reasons, I want him to stay and think he's got a shot at winning a Scudetto in these last few years, hypothetically, of his career. So those are my thoughts.
I'm going to touch on a quick comment, and then I'm going to kick the Vin. Because Pasquale, how about Jovinko saying he doesn't understand why Napoli's captain is looking at Toronto during the Scudetto race? Drama in Ontario already. My response here is don't believe everything you read. Journalists need to set articles. They need to get clicks. I always shit on them. I kind of feel bad, but let's just keep it real. Some of the things they do is triggering. Listen, everybody knows that Insigne's contract has been on every Napolitan's mind for months now, since the beginning of the season, if not before then, and maybe even last season. Okay. If I start putting articles saying that he's going to get 12 mil, he's going to the MLS, he might not play in the World Cup, he might leave Napoli in January. Believe me, they're triggering your emotions. They need you to click on their shit to read it. Don't believe everything you read. Even this episode, we're just giving an opinion of what could happen, how we feel. At the end of the day, we really don't know what Insigne is going to do. So just take it all with a grain of salt is what I'm trying to get at. And Jovinko, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So Vin, our captain is good.
On that
note, Vin, talk to me.
I don't even know where to begin.
Did Verona mess up the contract? Did the lack of UCL,
So
a couple minutes brief,
Yeah. I think that Insigne is an emotional player. And therefore, he can at times allow his mentality to. Is everything okay?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. No worries. At times, he can be mentally frail and overly emotional. But to blame him for not making Champions League last year when he was the best left winger in Europe and probably the only reason we were even close to that point tally last year in such a bad season. He had 21 goals, 11 assists. He's the main reason we even were within a shot of getting that Champions League spot last year. It's like blaming Baggio for us not winning the World Cup in '94. We wouldn't have been in that final without him anyway. So it's kind of, and the whole team underperformed that game against Verona. I wouldn't blame one guy, and Insigne is not the only leader on that team. And Koulibaly is a leader. There's many other leaders on the team. And I think when you're a player in a team, you don't only look at the guy with the armband. You look at the big leaders in the locker room. And Insigne is one of maybe 4 or 5. As far as Insigne, do we miss him, this and that? We miss his creativity in attack more than anything. And that's going to be the hardest thing to replace. We can get another winger who's tricky and can score. There's a lot of them in Europe. But, we have 2 other wingers that are, on a good day, tricky and can score in Politano and Lozano. But neither of them bring, are creatively close to what Insigne is. Insigne does a lot of what, like almost the hockey assist, where he'll not just get the goals and assists, but he'll create the whole attacking play, to Francesco's point.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of agreeing and disagreeing with everybody here, but that's the way I see it. I think it's a bit of a gray area. Would he have been my choice as captain if I was a coach? Probably not, just because I think he already has so much pressure on him being Napolitan and being in the city. Why pile more on?
Right.
But that's separate from the fact that, I don't think he's to blame for the Verona match. Although, I mean, maybe he's partially to blame, but equally with all the other players and the coach and De Laurentiis and everything that happened, last year. Other than that, I just want to say, you can pick and choose, because if you pick and choose moments, you can say that a guy who no one would say is mentally weak, Koulibaly, you can say, oh, he cost us the Scudetto against Fiorentina when he got the red card that year with Sarri's year, or he scored an own goal against Juventus in the Ancelotti season, which kind of gave us a bad start to our season. Or he was also playing for the Verona game, Koulibaly, and let a Simeone goal in. Right, so you can pick and choose specific moments with anyone and say, oh, they're to blame or whatever. But I think you got to look at it as a collective. And just lastly on the contract is I think that if we made the Champions League last season, 100% that Insigne gets re-signed. I think De Laurentiis really got scared after 2 years in a row. And he's like, damn, like this is now I got to really tighten up the purse strings. And he's playing hardball in a way that I really don't think he would have.
Plus COVID. And I think I just read today, the stadium capacity went down to 50%, so it went down to 25. So again, that's just
apparently you have to have a mask and a vaccine,
and a fucking helmet mask.
But to say De Laurentiis doesn't care, like a lot of people have been saying, it doesn't make sense. Ridiculous. Look, he created his own brand of clothing to make up for the loss of profit, so he can reinvest in the team.
Yeah,
right. The problem with Insigne and De Laurentiis is that. I think, honestly, if Insigne said right now, give me a 3-year, $4.5 million a year contract for same money I'm on now for 3 years, De Laurentiis does it. I think Insigne is looking for a longer contract for a little bit more money.
He wants to retire out.
And the thing was, you can't compare with Mertens. Mertens only did a 2-year extension for $2 million a season, right? That's very different. It's a short term for lower money, right? So if Insigne said, okay, you can pay me $6 million a season for the next 2 seasons, and then after that, I dropped to $3 million for the last 3 years. I bet you he does it, right? But De Laurentiis doesn't want to be paying 33, 34-year-old Insigne €6 million a season.
Nope,
what if we make no Champions League again this year, and then we're screwed? So
we're screwed, right?
That's
Get you
it.
there. Right, love it, guys.
There's my rant.
Right, hey, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, guys. This is why it's called the rant. Rafa, if you want to close it out again, a few minutes, because I do have to cut out. Brother went to sleep, so he's got a big morning.
Wake
tomorrow.
Joe up. Come on,
got a big morning
tomorrow. I'm kidding.
And I gotta go take another PCR test. So
oh crap, I'm waiting for mine tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
All right. Listen.
I'll revisit.
No. I got you.
Verona.
I feel like if Napoli were in the Champions League, Verona, Insigne would have signed the contract at, I don't know, same money. I feel the deal would have been done. at the same time, I don't know if they would have signed right then and there, because his contract. He was still under contract. It's not like he wasn't under contract. He was always going to come into the season playing for Napoli. So Champions League or not, he's playing. But yeah, I do believe ADL makes a little more money, could afford to pay him. Not that he can't afford to pay him 4.5 or 5 now, but the deal is probably a little bit sweeter because of the fact that he has this money hanging around. Obviously, he'd end up losing Manolas because Manolas wanted to go back home to Greece, which is fine. So he'd even make more money up there. I think they would have come to some sort of an agreement, but also to put Napoli in a position to sell Insigne off instead of let him go for free. Now,
Right.
To Fran's point, Insigne to me is he's the reason why we play so well attacking, right?
Mhm.
And I also was it Fran who said it, or maybe Vin, or maybe it was you, Michele. The decision to put him as the captain possibly wasn't the correct call. Was that you, Michele? But
No,
at the
no,
same,
that was Vincenzo.
that was Vin. Okay, but at the same time, who else is going to be captain? Yes, Koulibaly and Mertens are good shots for captains, but Insigne had the tenure. Insigne is from Naples. It was only a matter of time. Cannavaro. Oh, I remember. Okay, so Fran's point was, it would suck to see Insigne leave and then win a Scudetto later. But we could say the same thing for when Cannavaro left. We could say the same thing for when Hamsik left. Lavezzi, Cavani. I mean, you name it. Jorginho, Alan. All these guys that left, that Albiol, that gave their blood, sweat, and tears for this shirt, left without a Scudetto. And
Right.
for me, the last person on earth that would leave Napoli without a Scudetto is Insigne. But money talks, man. And listen, I'm sorry. Like, I tried to explain it to my kids, my Rocco, who was so beat up by this right now because he just got, another Insigne jersey that's coming for Befana. He got a signed Insigne poster that we checked out was authentic, the certificate of authenticity for Christmas. Days later, I've got to tell him Insigne is probably going to Toronto. Oh, he turned his back on Napoli. He's a backstabber. I'm so upset. He's almost in tears. And then I tell him, listen, if I got offered a contract to go play and I'm with Napoli to go play anywhere for triple the money, and I could take care of you, and your brother and Ali, I'm doing it. Like, it's a no brainer. Whether we won against Verona or not, let's say we beat Verona. We're in the Champions League. We're playing in the Champions League. We get to the round of 16. The contract's still not negotiated, and here comes Toronto. I think I'm still going, man. Like, it's just you can't. He's going to be literally just under Cristiano Ronaldo money at United. How can you? He's going to be top 5 paid players in the whole world. He's Lorenzo Insigne from freaking Napoli. Kid who grew up in the freaking, bumming cigarettes from people walking around. I don't know. I say cigarettes.
Bumming camels.
But you know what I mean? Like trying to get loose change from people's pockets. Escunizzo is going to be top 5 paid player in the whole world. How can you say no? How? It's impossible. So as far as the contract being signed, there's a better chance that they come up with some sort of an agreement, but we can't say for sure, can we? I mean, it's hard to say for sure. That's my take.
Guys, I'll give a quick opinion, but I wanted to first extend my thanks to everybody on the panel today for coming through. I mean, when you talk about short notice, this is the shortest notice that I've ever pulled on a stream podcast, and these fine gentlemen came. Rafa, we're so happy that you were able to make it. I know you were dealing with some things.
Let me say, I'm happy. I'm very happy that I was not able to make it at first because me not being able to make it forced you into the production of this Raff and Raff return, because this was originally supposed to be a Far From Vesuvius production.
Right. We
And
were supposed to have Dom.
I couldn't.
do
I
it, and it
just
was
wasn't ready. I couldn't do it. I just was mentally out of it. And then Raf said, "I'm doing it," and I'm like, "Oh man, shit, let's go."
It got me so excited because,
did, yeah.
I took this little test. I was kind of in my head. I was like, I just would like to go on to kind of clear my thoughts. It was a personal thing.
Nah, but
and when
you
I was
told
like,
me who was coming on, I was
damn,
like,
I was like,
man,
Rafa
this is
can't
gonna be
come.
fun.
It's like, I felt weird. I was like, do I say, hey, do you mind if I go on without you? It's
Dude.
back on the Rafa and Rafa shit. And I was telling the people in the first, I was like, by the way, the next 20 minutes we're going to be saying goodbye. I just want to forewarn
this
everybody.
is the official
This is the
Napoli time
goodbye.
goodbye.
This is the end of the fireworks show. But no, I just, it was, I wanted to come on. I really you got me excited, Rafa. You pumped in that adrenaline in me again. I wanted to come out. Thanks, Danny boy. So we were here, and Vin, Fran, and Mike certainly appreciative for you guys.
It's very good to see Mike. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Mike. This is your first one. We threw you right to the fire.
I haven't
today,
seen you since Michigan, my friend. I haven't seen you since Michigan. How's the wife and kid? Good. My best.
Starting to cut teeth, so
it's getting. I get you. Sambuca. A little bit, just a little bit.
Really?
Just on the gum. Yep.
The old Italian home remedies.
Just a dip.
I want to shout out the chat as well. We had a great turnout. I was like, hey, maybe we get 3-4 people. I'll be happy, but blew away my expectations. Thank you to everybody in the chat that's still here watching. You are the ones that make this show. Honestly, you are the ones that make it all better. So certainly appreciative. Now I'm gonna end it with this, and then we're gonna get out of here, guys. Let's start a Forza Napoli in the chat. This way I can post it up while we finish up. But for Lorenzo Insigne, guys, did that Verona game, the non-qualification to the Champions League, the mutiny from a couple years ago, maybe left a bad taste. There's so many things we can cite as to why Insigne is probably not getting this contract. Is ADL a little cheap? Yeah, he's a little cheap, but he has his reasons now. But overall, as far as performance goes on this team right now, to blame the president or Insigne or any one person is completely wrong. It's completely wrong. And even though we sit here and we rant about so many things, we really try to come to a point where it's like, hey, let's look at the bigger picture. And I think this is what we aim to do here. So please, I know we get this strong emotional impulse at times to point fingers at this one thing. It is not one thing. Napoli is a whole organization. It is huge, massive. Maybe not. We don't have that prestige as some other clubs, but it don't matter. We're still the biggest name in Southern Italy. We're still well respected, despite sometimes feeling we don't get that respect. All right. Lorenzo Insigne has grown, and I'll say this much. I don't want him to leave. I want this team to be successful. I would love for him to continue to be the leader of this team and work something out. But, Lore, go get paid. All right. If it comes, take it. And you know why? Because you'll never get it again. All right. And you did your thing. Maybe there's more to do, fine, but I don't want you to regret it. And if this little Scunizzo from Napoli, okay, can go on and be one of the top paid players in the world, just think about all the other little Scunizzi that are on the streets playing soccer, kicking around that Super Santos. Think about those kids now. They can wow, I could be a millionaire. I could go to America. I could go to these other leagues and become something. Hell, we have been funneling all our talent to the North, making those teams strong. Why don't you come to the West and make our team strong? We will pay you, we will love you, and we will give you conditions that you will be chill in. So for that alone, if Lorenzo Insigne coming to America, to North America, would it be Toronto or wherever, if that means that we're opening up a whole door for all these little poor kids on Via Garibaldi or whatever, I'm cool with that. Because at the end of the day, aside from being a Napoli fan, whether you were born there or not, or I don't care where you're from, we're Napolitani. This is more than just a team. It's an attitude, you know? And I would like to see a successful Napolitan. We need to put our name out there in the lights more and more and more and start gaining that respect. And sometimes maybe sometimes it's leaving the nest. Maybe sometimes that's the hardest choice is the best choice. And that's why it's so hard. So for whatever it is, good luck. Make the right choice. Keep your head in the game. Help us. I'm dying on this Scudetto hill, guys. I'm not leaving. I don't care. I'm dying here. I'm dying
It's not
here.
over by a long
I don't
shot.
care if in May everybody gets on my shit and makes fun of me. I don't give a shit. All right?
It's not over,
dying
man.
on this hill. All right? I will always support this team. I will always big them up. And you know what? That's my problem. And I'm going to live with it. But
Biz, you made it poetic there. It's almost
you.
as if he's got to sacrifice not
I was
winning a Scudetto to maybe leading us for success down the road.
Listen,
Great
I mean,
point.
at the end of the day, right? We want to see our city rise up, right? We want to see our, you know, and sometimes we don't really see it. Oh, well, Lorenzo Insigne leaving, but it don't matter, man. You got to understand, he grew up in the system, played with some of the best strike with Cavani, with Osimhen now, with Higuain.
Right.
He played with all these guys, helped win Italy a big a major European trophy, and now is handed the deal of a lifetime. If you're a young little kid watching, Lorenzo Insigne is now a banner. He is a flag for all young Napolitanis to follow. And if that doesn't mean that maybe that greatness is not winning a Scudetto for Napoli, but being the best version of yourself, obtaining all the success that you can obtain within a short period of time. Because let's be honest, you know, a soccer career is short-lived, you know, maybe 10, 15 years, if you're lucky, you know? So I want to try to take the good out of the bad. Of course, I want him to stay as our captain, but if he doesn't, I wish him the best of success because, hey, why not?
I don't know if you were in here, Rafa, before, but I was saying that, like, at least we could see him up close, you know, in his last couple of years. And as much as we'd love to go watch him play in Naples, it's just not realistic to go see him, you know, like put aside every year, every couple of years, even for that matter, is tough. So now that we can go see him 3-4 times a year now, I mean, it's you know, you got to take the good out of it. It's bittersweet, but there's some, you know, uniqueness to it. I
mean, the thing I envision is taking my kids to Yankee Stadium and getting as close as I could, and like calling them over to take pictures with the kids. You know what I'm saying? And just talking to talking to him, and you know, even driving up to Toronto to hang out with some of our Toronto friends and catching a TFC. I'd rather catch a TFC.
now.
I'd rather catch a TFC.
Oh
yeah, dude. TFC against anyone but NYC, and I'm going for them. You know what I mean?
Hey, Rafa,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, since I got the Drip Kings on here, how amazing would it be to get a team issued Insigne's match jersey?
Right. That's right.
Signed by Insigne.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Michele scored big on that one, man.
Michele, where are you from?
I'm from West Virginia.
Virginia, okay.
Yeah.
Michele scored big on that one. He really did. That would be great. That would be great. You take the trip out to New York, right?
Yeah.
And there you go. What's the closest? What do you? DC, right?
DC and Columbus are the two.
Okay, so there's your opportunities to go see.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'll definitely be in both.
Well, listen, if this happens, right? And I know we're extending this really quick, but Ralph, you mentioned something, Ralph Biz. You know, we talk about peaking, right? We talk about having won the Euro. And, you know, he's had success with Napoli. We can't say he hasn't had success. Right. He's won Coppa Italia. He's gone to Champions. He's scored big goals in Champions Leagues. You know what I mean? He's had success, right? I wonder if that image of him with that European Cup, you know, there's an image of him with that European Cup just running up to the crowd with it. You know what I mean? If that's the image we can see and be like, okay, he's done his job. And now he's going to go make this money. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the World Cup.
It's fine.
And I truly believe that he does want to give the World Cup a shot. He didn't get a good enough shout when he was there in 2014. And in 2018, we all know what happened. In 2022, he's got a chance with Italy if they make it to in March, if they make it to win a World Cup. But that lasting image of him with that trophy, I mean, where you can see he's the happiest he's ever been in his entire life, with friends that he's grown up with as well, mixed in with all these other veterans and people he's met through, the system or whatever, right? Can we really, what if we're sitting here thinking, oh, he's got to win a Scudetto this season, or he's got to win a Europa League this season, a European trophy with Napoli, and then leaves? What a send-off. What if he's already had his send-off in his brain? And there's another thing to think about. That's probably another reason why he's a little distracted on the pitch, man. Like, damn, I just did it. I just won this Euro. Like, nobody alive right now. I mean, maybe a select few people alive right now can say, I won a Euro with Italy. After being, after missing the World Cup, we did this together, like that could be his crowning achievement. And now he's going to go take that money and play in the MLS,
Right. Why not? But guys, listen,
I like what you said. I like what you said, Ralph.
Hey, man, listen. Hey, any success for Napoli down in school with me, guys? Any shout outs before we go? Anybody? I know we got a big kiss, love to the kid, Miguel, to your son. Fran, thank you again. For Enzo. Fran, thank you again. Vinny, thank you again so much, guys. Really for just popping in on such short notice. Rafa, it was a pleasure.
Yes,
thank you for coming in. Once again, always a great time. Carmelo, I saw your comment. I responded to it. Hey, why not, man? We're trying to reach out, getting more and more people because I really like having guests. Yeah, thank you, Rafa. You put that up for me. Yeah, a little over 30 minutes with 5 host guests. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good goodbye. Yeah, we've done worse. We've had whole episodes of just goodbyes, but let's get on out of here, guys. Big thank you again. Big kiss. Thank you to everybody on the chat. It was certainly a pleasure to see everybody again. I got one more. Andrea, thank you for coming in. Wait a minute. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. I got a show. I promised I would show it. I got to find it. Give me 1 second. We're out of here. I said that 6 times already. Where is the picture? I can't find it.
Chris Estrada. While you find it, Ralph.
Yeah, do that, bro.
Chris Estrada. Stay tuned. Stay tuned, my friends.
Oh, I can't find it.
Rafa, you got any updated Far From Vesuvius swag? I still got
swag.
My on the iPad.
You have what's that? You have the sticker on the iPad. No,
from Michigan.
Dude, no swag. I really want to shout out the Napoli Club Toronto because their swag game is off the page. Matter of fact,
that hat, bro.
The hat is so sick.
I want the winter hat.
I'm
getting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to Carm and see where he went through for that because Far From Vesuvius swag should be coming out soon. But also, I mean, we always talked about Raf and Raf swag. You know what I mean? We can't confirm or deny that we're returning right now, but if we do, we need to really get on the swag game too. You know what I'm saying?
Those mugs are nice.
Little Raf and Raf espresso cups.
Right,
dude.
right.
Listen, I'm telling you, I was worried that my, because I made the bigger coffee, the sample bigger coffee. That thing was coming up to like right here, and I was like, oh shit, is this thing gonna stop or what? I might have to get another cup. Yeah, little espresso cups, man. That'd be great.
Cool. All right, guys, let's get on out of here. I'm gonna end this broadcast. Once again, thank you to everybody. Shot love. Stay tuned for any updates. And thank you for joining us on this emergency episode at the Raf and Raf rant, guys.
Ciao, guys.
Ciao.
Thank you.